Hello, my name is Mercury, and welcome to this brand new episode of Media FA. Today, I'm alone. Today, I'll be discussing the first Deadpool movie, a movie that released in 2016 and was the second live-action incarnation of the Deadpool character after the travesty that was the X-Men Origins Wolverine version of the character. Again, uh, uh, and was also fucking hell. Both versions were played by Ryan Reynolds. So Ryan Reynolds in like 2009 to 2010 ish, no, that was 2011, had a really bad run with Greenland with superheroes, with him being a not very good version of Deadpool, and then doing Green Lantern. So he was not the best. He wasn't in the let's say he wasn't exactly in the best spot for superhero movies in the late 2000s early 2010s. And the next movie he did was Deadpool for superhero stuff, not like the next movie he did after Green Lantern was Deadpool. No, but it was the next one, so he came back for the role. And the production for this movie was hell, but we'll get into that later. I was gonna give some background to this episode. So, if you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but this episode wasn't just made out of the blue. I've mentioned this quite a bit, but we are trying to. But here, Media Faye, it's like a fucking company. But behind the scenes, we announce episodes, and so people can vote on them and see which ones they want to show up in. And this episode specifically is one from 2022. It was announced in 2022. This was around, I think, before they announced that Deadpool 3 was going to be in the MCU. I'm pretty sure that there were rumors that was going to happen when we announced this episode, or around that time, I think. But this episode was announced quite a long time ago, and people wanted to be in it, but then obviously it's been 2 years. People lose interest in that sort of thing, and yeah, so they might not mean to you things like that, what we're like releasing, and maybe it might seem weird what we're releasing, but just so you know, I think from fucking a month from the start of the month, or what was supposed to be start of the month, even though we have not been on schedule for the entirety of November, and we're actually around 2 weeks behind on episodes. So that's fun. I really, really want to be back on schedule. But yeah, so to be honest, this episode was announced in like the private Discord server we have back in 2022. People lost interest, and now I'm trying to clean up shop for next year. So to roll around and get some new stuff going in. But that's besides the point. So what you guys will be seeing for at least until like early January 2025 will be for like a little bit until maybe around December ish or December ish for fucking next week, next week, and the week after that is that or like whatever. Like you're gonna see episodes from 2022 and some other stuff. So a lot of episodes will be from 2022. We really don't have a lot from 2023 left over after the fucking after fuck after Marvel and DC. We've already finished those, so we don't have a lot left to really cover in that area. We only have I think one or two more episodes, and you'll be seeing which ones here. But yeah, and also if all goes well, you will be seeing. Sorry for the delay on episodes, but you will be seeing the episodes from the second week of November come out today, Sunday the 24th, and you'll be seeing all the episodes from what is supposed for what is supposed to be last week or this week, whichever you prefer to think it is, or whatever you think Sunday is. tomorrow, Monday the 25th. That's when you see those, and then we are back on schedule. Hopefully, if all goes well, and I'm not fucking lazy to record those episodes because that it's definitely a possibility that could happen. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, this episode was announced. So the around the time the Deadpool 3 was rumored or slash confirmed to be part of the MCU, I'm pretty sure it was confirmed at that point that was gonna happen, and we wanted to get those episodes out before the release of the third movie, and well, that didn't happen. So now we're cleaning up shop. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. But let's actually talk about the production of the movie. That's not really the point I have here, but now I remember that was a thing that happened. So the actual production of the Deadpool movie was kind of a mess, to be completely honest. It it's kind of baffling to really say the least. So I mentioned it earlier that Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool in That's When Known as Wolverine. Well, that was one a bad movie. I haven't watched it yet, but it's apparently a really bad movie. And two, it's also a really bad version of Deadpool because they they sewed the mouth shut of the Mercury mouth, and they really do poke fun of that in this movie and the sequel. I think a bit more in this movie. I don't know, but yeah, like this this version of Deadpool is sort of making up to the version of Deadpool that we got in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which didn't even wear the iconic red and black outfit, which was very well adapted for this movie, and people and it's a very general consensus that the outfit that Deadpool wears in this movie and the sequel are some of the best comic book costumes ever because they are so accurate. And I think I think people also general consensus is that the Deadpool is that the one from Deadpool and Wolverine is also like one of the better ones because it just looks like how Deadpool should look like in live action. So yeah. Well, this movie was tasked with being a live action version of Deadpool, which is very hard to do because Deadpool in the comics is a very is a very wild character, and I think that this like at least in Deadpool and Wolverine they do sort of I shouldn't really compare to later entries because of course Deadpool and Wolverine came out this year. We are not gonna review Deadpool 2 this year. I'm sorry, but I really need to one get rid of all these episodes and two like, just get things over with. You might see a review of Deadpool 2 soon. Not I'm not fucking promising soon. You might see that you may see a review of Deadpool 2 at some point in the future. When that will be, I can't say, really. But I do promise that it will happen at some point, but I just don't know when that at some point will be. Just letting you know. I have absolutely no intention of rushing out these. I am rushing out these few episodes, these next 3 episodes, though. I am taking a fucking break after recording those 3 episodes. I am so sorry if these episodes are a bit short, but I am not going to. But I am not going to go on. Hope I don't know if I'm gonna go on for an hour for these episodes, but if I do, god damn it. But yeah, I might go for the next one. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. But yeah. So yeah, but yeah, this is made to be a favorite. Oh yeah, wait. No. See, like Deadpool, it's a very zany. Okay, back to where I was going. Like Deadpool's a very zany type of humor in the comics, and like for example, what might be the best, like one of the better adaptations of Deadpool was in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where he legit has moves that like break the fourth wall, not just like talking to the audience, but he actually like I think uses the health bar as a I get attacked with the health bar. Like in Deadpool Wolverine, he grabs the camera and he talk and obviously talks to you, but it's not like just a quick quips and stuff. But like Deadpool uses a lot of the comic book liberties that he uses a lot of the comic. Like, he makes fun of like that, and they uses it to a disadvantage in the comic. Like for example, Deadpool, like but something what Deadpool would do is that he would look into he would read through the comic and then see how he beats the bad guy, and that's how he would learn how to beat him. But he doesn't really do that in movies. They doesn't really allow him to do that. So they had to like really dumb down Deadpool for Deadpool for the movies. I feel like maybe Disney will let them do something like that. It seems like they're more leaning into that, maybe, but I really don't know if they will actually do that because that means being creative of how about if they play around with the character, and I don't know if Disney's really that creative. But yeah, um, so yeah, just to get to the point, this movie's fucking production was a fucking hell. I don't know how long it was stayed in production, but I know it was for quite a bit of time, and so it just they just really couldn't get get a get this movie off the ground. At Fox really didn't want to make this movie. They really didn't because they like again like a lot of companies are not again, but I've mentioned it before. Companies mostly what they care about is money, and X-Men Origins Wolverine, I'm pretty sure bombed. I don't know. I'm not sure if it bombed. I could check, but I'm not going to. I don't. There were there. That was my pen that just broke. Okay. Anyways, I'm not gonna check. I don't. My laptop doesn't have internet right now, so yippee. But what I can say is that this movie was in development for quite a bit before we actually got it released. So how was that? So how was that like? Well, we actually kind of got a little bit of an insight into that thanks to Ryan Reynolds and what he may or may not have done to get the movie off the ground. And that's kind of a funny story. And I will not, and this is all alleged, but it's a general consensus, so yeah. All right, so the story is that allegedly Ryan Reynolds leaked some test footage for Deadpool that was what was going to be what was that was going to and but the fuck that was the starting scene, the opening scene for the movie. Like concept, and he leaked it onto the internet, and the internet fucking loved it. So seeing that the internet fucking loved it, Fox greenlit the movie, and it got off the ground, and here we are now. Deadpool is the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. They officially did surpass Passion of the Christ, which I never heard of before. I don't know how that got again $1 billion, but for whatever, right? So yeah, the history of this movie is quite wild indeed. And how did it turn out? Even after me fucking talking about it 14 minutes, and not really saying much about the movie. Let's find out. Let's find the fuck out. So starting out the CGI in action, the action is very solid. Of course, this movie isn't like I said earlier. We are not. I'm not gonna fucking talk about it like in comparison to Deadpool and Wolverine, but the action is definitely a big strong point in the movie. It is a lot more grounded. That is complete. That is right. It is not as grandiose as the second movie, or even the movie or the second movie. Really, this movie is a lot more just street level, and I do appreciate it for that. I don't think Deadpool has to be a big character, big action sequences. This movie doesn't really have all that much. It has like a highway scene. That's maybe the biggest one. It's just a highway scene, and well, there's also the helicarrier one, but that's kind of not all like that. It's not all that. It's just kind of like a set piece. It's not really like the one in the second movie where it's like the transport, and it's all moving as like certain move and has a lot of moving parts. That's not what that's not what what Deadpool 2 is like. That Deadpool 2, the first Deadpool movie is really like focusing on. And even then, like I said, the one with the broken down helicarrier is mostly just them like going shooting at things or doing other stuff. And the one we won with Francis and Deadpool. That's really what most of the movie, what most of the fight scene really compresses itself of. It doesn't have a lot of big set pieces, really, that like big action set pieces that kind of constitute it being like having a big budget. I'm pretty sure this movie doesn't have that big of a budget, so I am very. I know, like yeah, no. This movie also got cut in budget at some point or something. I think that was it. Like the movie was cut down in budget, so they had to like. I think they cut certain things. They had to do that. They had to cut certain things. And that's probably why this movie doesn't have a lot of like what the comic Deadpool has. It's probably just because they couldn't afford to do that, and that's fine and all. I'm not exactly mad at that, but it's just a bit interesting to really say. And you know what? For having, I think it had a cut budget and a pretty low budget at that. CGI is very well made for what the movie is, especially for like Colossus and the stuff with Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I think it's all very well made, and when the helicarrier falls down, I think it's also pretty. It looks pretty good. Colossus, it is also kind of a big achievement because Colossus is entirely CGI, which is something that it's not exactly something that happens with the character. The character has metal skin. Like sure, he can is mute is his powers is that he has metal, he can transform to metal skin, but he isn't metal skin all the time, like we see him in this movie. And I don't know why they went with that decision. I feel like maybe I feel like it's maybe because they wanted to make a very accurate Colossus, and they couldn't do that with the with the with the model that they had with Colossus. So they just had to compromise and make him completely metallic all the time. That's a bit weird, but I mean they pulled it off, and he well, it wasn't in this movie a lot, to be honest. So it wasn't really like that. It wasn't like really that bad, to be honest. I don't know why I said to be honest twice, but whatever. It wasn't that taxing, and the movie is pretty short by itself, so it's not going to suffer. But yeah, here a second. I shouldn't be fucking yawning. It's 3. It's 3 p.m. I have no idea when you listen to this, but right now when I'm recording this, it's 3 p.m. So yeah, make of that how you will. Yeah, that's all I was gonna say about the CGI and action. Let's talk about the characters next. So obviously we're gonna start off with Deadpool. Um, Deadpool, I feel like this movie really solidified him as a fun. Like they really fixed him from what he was in the last movie that he was in. And that's been Origins Wolverine. So this Deadpool is a completely different character from the one X-Men Origins Wolverine had. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be the version from like after Days of Future Past or something like that happens. Oh, give it. Yeah, I don't know if it's after that, but something happens, I guess. So this Deadpool is either like its own timeline, or she just does something else. I got no idea. But yeah. But this Deadpool is from at least from life like from what I've seen from the X Men Origins Wolverine Deadpool. This Deadpool is a vast improvement from whatever the hell that was. Obviously, he has the mask, like yeah, yes, the outfit, but he also has the character, and the character for it, and I do really enjoy that. Like I like that, and that was sort of kept throughout the other movies. And his character was kept, but I feel like in this movie we did really see a lot more of who Deadpool was. And something I really do appreciate from the entire series is that we're not talking about the entire series, but what I like is that they at least show that Deadpool isn't just like it's just kind of fucked up in the head and not really like and but he's still like a he's still sort of a good guy, but not really. And I don't. He's an anti-hero. Like, it's very apparent that he's an anti-hero. He doesn't really like. He does things for just like in not inside of the movie. But I think when we first introduced to him in the flashbacks, he is helping out like a young girl that got I think it was like either like cyberbullied or some shit. I don't remember. And I watched the movie yesterday. I think like the day before. I know it was stalked. You know, like the girl was like stalked, and this guy and Deadpool just did it. I think it was for free or some shit. I don't fucking remember. He didn't get paid for it, so I don't know. But he does it for like for for the good of it or for the fuck of it. Like, I don't know. Like he just does that, and it's very apparent. And I like that this movie isn't trying to make him be like your typical. Like, isn't him going to be a good guy? He is very set on his ways of doing things, and I do appreciate that from his character. But we also do see a lot of humanity in Deadpool. That's kind of getting at. We do see a lot of humanity in him, and I do like that for this version of Deadpool. And something that I think the comics did after the movie, and I feel like it does things. It does good things for the character. That's always like that's always really appreciate to see a lot more layers to Deadpool. And I do like his jokes a lot. I feel like his jokes are really funny. There was one that I actually laughed at out loud because I forgot about the joke and I thought it was really funny. I don't remember which one it was, but I do remember laughing out loud. And I watched the movie before. I rewatched the movie at some I think I think the day after the day before yesterday. But I did watch it before. I think it was maybe around the early this year. I watched it for the first time, and I don't remember. I didn't remember that joke, so I did laugh out loud when I heard that. I forgot what it was, but yeah, I do. I do enjoy this version of Deadpool. Admittedly, it's the only version of Deadpool I've seen aside from that one from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which he is there like he is just dumbed down for like little kids, which is like fucking fine. I guess I don't really care. And I do like that they portray like that. Like his relationship with Taskmaster and how like Taskmaster can't copy his moves because he's so predictable. I feel like that's really funny. And they also play around a lot more with Deadpool's like comic fourth wall breaking shit, and that's always cool to see. You know, I do I enjoy this version of Deadpool a lot. This movie does show enough of him that I feel like it's great. But something I don't really get is how he really got to the point of like fourth wall breaking. Really didn't see that happen in the credit scene in like any at any point really. We didn't really see that happen or how that developed, and I don't know if that was something that like needed to be said. See, like to see how that worked. I'm not sure if I don't know. Like it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and I'm gonna talk about that later when we get to the actual plot of the movie. But it's something that I do kind of have a problem with, and that's sort of like it's a dichotomy between what's between the flashbacks and the action, the in what the movie actually is about, and like the actual kind of plot line this movie has. Yeah, that's Deadpool. Next time I want to talk about the X Men movie. I do like that Colossus is a lot is portrayed as the good cop, but he is rather like harmless towards Deadpool. It's just a fucking Deadpool. It's just Deadpool just fucking hates him. Not really hates him, but like really just like hates how like the X Men do things. And Negasonic Teenage Warhead is like just doesn't really have more, like it's just kind of there just to have another X Men here and not and like a very obscure character for this movie they used here, and they made her kind of a mainstay for Deadpool, and even the comics. Uh, Negasonic Teenage Warhead does hang around Deadpool a lot more, but yeah, I like the inclusion of the X Men here. I feel like they really do play into, they do really help Deadpool, to accent Deadpool's character, that accent Deadpool's character. I'm trying to fucking ignore that. I probably said it a million fucking times. I probably said character a million times by now, so I'm just gonna ignore it. Yeah, I like they do add to him to his character, and I'm not exactly mad that they're here. I do feel like they really needed to be here to help out with Deadpool's character. Like not arc really. I mean, it is kind of an arc. I don't know. That would really go through an arc, but the X Men, I like their include at least the two that we see here. I do like their inclusion. It's at least adds it's the movie. And well, fucking cut the budget. They probably wasted half the budget on the X Men, so that's always fun. And I always do like seeing more of Colossus. I feel like he's an X Men that's very popular but wasn't really touched upon as much, especially in X Men '97. We didn't really see a lot of Colossus. I don't think we see Colossus at all at any point. It's one of the big X Men. I don't know if that was he was even in the original cartoon, but he's like for at least for like for me and for some other people, Colossus is a very big X Men character. So he can kind of be on the sidelines, especially in the movies. At least from what I remember, from what I remember, Colossus really isn't in those movies all that much. So it's just kind of like a weird decision to not have him to just have him not really appear in it when he's one of the big popular ones, and having him here in Deadpool movies being like just having like a few laughs with the character, but also being kind of cool is very appreciated, and I do really like that. Right, next up is Vanessa, and I do like Vanessa, and I can at least like the idea and like the execution of, like, of what who Vanessa is. I don't think she's in the comics. I'm not sure. Maybe she is, but I do like that they at least gave Deadpool sort of an anchor to his humanity and like who he and like who what he's doing it for and all that. But aside from that, I don't think Vanessa, and also like Vanessa has a lot of like good character like interaction with Wade Wilson Deadpool, and I do like she stands. I do like that she and she does stand as her own character. She's obviously just like she matches Deadpool. Deadpool's crazy, even though nobody matches Deadpool's crazy. But like she used to, I guess. Like she was the perfect match for him. I mentioned earlier, but like in the Deadpool and Wolverine episode, but I don't like that they split. But I do like about this movie is that is like what Vanessa adds to Deadpool's character, and like again she's a supporting character. Yeah, just do that. And, I do like that. I do like the sort of I guess I don't know. It's not really much to say about Vanessa. I just like her like what she adds to the story in general. Why she Deadpool's character. That's mostly what the movie is about. It's about Deadpool's character, which is fine. It's not really about much aside from that, and it doesn't really need to be. So, yeah, like I just like Vanessa's character quite quite a lot for this movie, and I do think she adds quite a bit. And another one, the last character I want to talk about is Ajax slash Francis Freeman, or just Francis. I do like what Deadpool does to get at this guy. Aside from that, he's not that impressive of a villain. He runs a mutant factory. He gives Deadpool his powers, and he wants revenge. And then Francis finds some stuff about him, and that's how he kidnaps Vanessa. Doesn't really kick start the plot, but he does do that. Yeah, but aside from that, he's not a very interesting character or interesting villain. You're just kind of there, and to be honest, for like the first Deadpool villain, it's fine. But again, he's just like a kind of a nothing character, and I don't think he needs to really be all that much of a like a something character. I think he's just fine how he is, and that's really all I gotta say. I do like that he's in this movie, like and what he adds to it. But aside from that, he's not mentioned ever again. He's just like like after this movie, he isn't really he's just not a very interesting villain. That's fine. But I just think he adds what he has to add, and that's good enough. Let's move on to the plot, which is actually my last point because we kind of already know the future of this franchise. But yeah, I have my problems with the plot, and that really brings down the movie quite a bit. And that is that this movie has the big problem of having an inconsistent tone. Like I mentioned earlier, Deadpool's after during the actual plot and the flashbacks, it doesn't have that consistent of a tone. The flashbacks are very very dark, not very very dark, but they are darker in nature to the rest of the movie. And to be honest, the flashbacks are most of the movie, and that is something that doesn't help. It really really doesn't help the movie at all, and it's kind of sad because it drags it down quite a bit. The actual, I think the last of the flashbacks end around. I think it's like 40 minutes in. That's like the last we really see of those flashbacks, or like something like that. And the rest of the movie is during the is after uh it is like after like this highway sequence. But that's like literally most of the movie. Like the movie takes place within like 2 days technically, aside from the flashback sequences, which really, really hamper the tone of the movie and the plot. Because when you really cut those things out, the movie is like it's like maybe an hour, like maybe I don't know, like I don't know when I don't remember when they end, but I know they went on to like 50 minutes. I'm like, okay, goddamn, there's 15 minutes left of this what an hour and a half movie, and I mean that's still quite a bit of time, but we'll really just spend like 40 minutes just on these flashbacks, and that's kind of most of the movie, from what I remember from it. And those 40 minutes really could have been used for something else, and I feel like it would have benefited a lot more from that. It's kind of sad. I don't know. So yeah, it's just and to me at least, and again, like it's a very inconsistent tone. Like they're very serious. They're like, Deadpool's crack jokes in them, but that's mostly a coping mechanism for like what the actual movie like is about. From actual like Deadpool comedy that we see in like when we actually see him be Deadpool. And it's kind of just sad, to be honest. That's just it's just what it is. It's just kind of sad to see this movie be like this, have this sort of inconsistent tone. And what I feel like this tone really does, and what these flashback sequences do, it makes so there's not enough Deadpool in the movie. I feel like we got very little Deadpool. And like I said, like I was just so surprised that when I mentioned 50 minutes, I'm like wait 50 minutes. And I don't. But the thing is that we don't really see all that much Deadpool, and I'm fine not having like I'm fine with taking away some time from Deadpool. Fucking duh. Like sometimes we need to focus on different characters. But this movie just has too little of that, and it's not good. Like it's not it's not a very good thing. It just feels like there's too little of Deadpool in this movie, and too little of the jokes, too little of the action. It's just mostly the flashback sequences, and like at the end, like at the beginning, at the end, that's when we get some Deadpool action, and that's just not the best way to handle the movie. I don't feel. So yeah, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of that. How that could have been changed, I have no idea. I think maybe the only way to do that is to make I don't know. I really don't know how to fix that. There's definitely ways to, but I just can't really think of any. It's just it's just kind of a bad combination, really, to have those two things, and that's kind of like an advice, like my wedding advice to like, that I try to give in every single one of these reviews. But if I forget something, if I'm not really that like if I don't really remember much of what I'm talking about, like for example, like what's gonna happen a little like in like if I didn't do it in like the Marvels and some shit. I don't know. I think in the Marvels I did have some like criticism, and at least some advice. There's some advice here. Sometimes you want to do something with like a character that like it has a different tone. Like you want to do fashion sequences. It's a character like a comedic character that has a very tragic thing. But obviously, when you're flashing forward and flashing back, it's gonna be an inconsistent tone. So you want to keep a consistent tone, and really treat those flashback sequences as happening like because the character's thinking about them, not just because we're seeing them. You know, it doesn't really help. Unlike, for example, what happened to the Acolyte, where those flashback sequences didn't really tie into anything or what the characters were thinking of. That's mostly just because we needed to see those. Then when you flashback sequences, there were flashback episodes, which severely cut down the story to just 6 episodes, and it didn't help at all. But Deadpool didn't have that, but it did have a different issue with fucking tone. So just if you do a movie like if you're trying to do a movie like this, it probably won't work. And if you do something like this, the best thing you can do is what this movie did, and really, really, really put their money on the characters and like all the talent on the characters because they carry this movie. They carry the movie so hard, and I feel like the characters are really enjoyable, but the plot and the inconsistent tone really, really, really bring down this movie. And that's really like my general consensus. Yeah, That is my general summary. This movie has great characters that like make the movie not bearable, but like it's the best part of the movie. But you're gonna feel a lot of tonal whiplash when you actually watch it and watch it because of the back and forth that the flashback sequences have with the actual narrative, and the fact that you're not gonna get much Deadpool out of it either. So yeah, that's really my general consensus. If I had well, not if I had, but giving it a rating, it would go on the B tier. It's definitely a good movie, but not the best. I'm not gonna compare it to the other ones, but it's definitely not the best way to really give us our first look into Deadpool. But it does get better over time, so whatever. It does stay here in the B tier. Yeah, that's about it. What did you guys think of the first Deadpool movie? Leave in the comments below. And that's really about it. See ya.